And voters sent the message loud and clear that they do not want the tolls to continue. A lot of politics at play in tonight's results. I'm joined now by eyewitness political analyst Clancy Dubose. And Clancy, what does this say about how the public views different elections and who turns out to the polls?
Well, it's an old saying by one of my mentors, Jim Carvin, that every election is a unique event, kind of like a football game. And this is one of the things that proves it. You look back to the last toll election, it was tied in with the presidential race when you had a monster turnout. Today is kind of an off election. It ties in with Jazz Fest in terms of scheduling. And yet, I think it's pretty interesting that we had, when all the votes aren't in yet, but when they are all counted, I think it will show that we had about a 20% turnout, which, considering all the other things going on today and the fact that there was really not much else on the ballot, that's a pretty good turnout for an off election. It shows that the opponents were not only organized, but also motivated.
And what's interesting about that is that in November, there was such an organization for the tolls and for the extension, including a lot of political heavy hitters coming out and supporting it, from the New Orleans police chief, Sheriff Newell Norman, other people.
Mayor
now
Landrieu, they all ran for cover.
Nowhere to be found.
I think they knew that this was a foregone conclusion, that there wasn't any fraud involved in the election. It was just a procedural mess up, and it was one that had been happening for a long time. It wasn't unique to this election, but the courts corrected it. The judge correctly said we got to have a do-over, and by then the momentum had swung, not so much because of how the election went, but because of where the money was going and how the money was being spent, or as the opponents would say, misspent. And that really cast a pall over the whole toll question, and the voters just said enough.
Now,